I think the reason that we want to talk about AI this year is that this is the first year where you can't get in the building at NEA without an AI story, which is to say that AI has become pervasive. It's in virtually every pitch we hear, but more importantly, it's making a huge difference in so many companies in so many different ways.
In and of itself, automation, AI, and ML it really doesn't have value. It's the connection to a particular business aspect that you want to either make more efficient or be able to deal with much more complex situations than you've been able to deal with in the past. That's the essence of unlocking value with AI.
So Automation Anywhere is an enterprise software company. We make a platform that makes bots, we use technologies like robotic process automation and artificial intelligence to do that. Our mission is to change how work gets done and to make work more human. The bots are a software that will see what you are doing on a computer and then slowly learn from your behavior and then begin to automate those processes just like people would. We envision a world where virtually every single person will have a digital assistant. We talk to Siris and Alexas in our personal lives. Why not we spend 8 to 10 hours at work, why not have a digital assistant for every work environment? We have 40 of the largest 50 banks as our customers, 18 out of largest 20 technology companies, 8 out of 10 largest healthcare companies, 70 out of the top 100 S&P 100 companies.
This is one of the fastest growing companies in our portfolio at scale. And it's because everybody realizes the value proposition it delivers is fantastic. It's one of the best, productivity applications that's ever been conceived of.
The impact on a business is very dramatic. First of all, the idea of automation is not new. We are all familiar with it. But this kind of automation is new, where it is not about rip and replace software. It is about keeping everything you have and creating an automation layer along with it. What it means is that it can often bring you a return of your investment within 3 months or 6 months. That's almost unheard of on an enterprise software scale. Perhaps the biggest benefit in a long run is the fact that human beings are now focused on things that only human beings can do. That probably is the biggest benefit of all.
The actual AI and ML tool sets are available to lots of people, and education is available. The art is doing this in a way that you get something meaningful out of it.
The number one obstacle preventing companies from extracting value from their data is a shortage of data scientists. Our product solves this problem in 2 ways. Number one, it makes the few data scientists in the world much more productive, like on an order of magnitude of 10 to 100 times more productive. Half of our users are non-data scientists. So it also enables 100 times more people in an enterprise to contribute to building these solutions and getting value from data.
As it turns out, Harry Weller was the one who found DataRobot. And he called me on the phone, and the way that Harry did, he was super excited. He said, "Scott, you got to see this thing." So it's a Boston-based company. The entrepreneur got on the phone and demoed it to me. I thought, this is one of the coolest products I've ever seen. But it's exactly the kind of software which alleviates the human capital shortage of AI-trained engineers, because it enables basically ordinary humans to do machine learning and AI.
If you think what RPA does, RPA is kind of simple steps of like automating the simple work that humans do. If there's a step in there that really requires human thought, that's where we can come in, and as long as there's some data to learn from, we can teach the machine to make the decision that the human would have made. We literally serve every single industry, every single part of companies. I like to say we're like water. We come in and we take the shape of whatever the organization that we're trying to serve needs. In our cloud, we call like the AI cloud, DataRobot's AI cloud. We have our customers over the past 4 years or so have built now over 1 billion models. And just to give you some idea, when I was a data scientist, it would take me months to build a model. So it's kind of a vanity metric. I'd say it's more like I'm much more interested when we're working with customers is the use cases and the value associated with each use case. We have about 2 or 3 year head start in the market against all competitors, but we're not resting. We have a vision to create machines that can learn on their own.
The things that really get my attention now are certainly in robotics, it's going after jobs that really people shouldn't do, and it's dangerous for people to do.
Built robotics basically takes existing excavation equipment and automates it so that you don't need humans involved in excavating a construction site.
I think the vision for Built came from my childhood. My dad was a contractor and a carpenter when I was growing up, and he wrote me in to work for him every summer in high school. Fast forward, I studied engineering at Penn as well as business. I worked at Google. I started another company and sold it to eBay. And I knew I was an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to do it again, but I wanted it to be like a real hard tech problem. And I just kept on coming back to construction. Something that's kind of incredible about the construction industry is if you look at labor productivity, it's the only major sector of the economy where labor productivity has actually fallen over the last 40 years. It's really been untouched by new technology. And that's created this incredible opportunity where if we can figure out a way to deploy the latest technology and close that gap, then there's just this enormous market opportunity for what we're doing. We get to road faster, we can get to a deployed fleet earlier than self-driving cars, because what we're doing is putting robots in a more constrained environment. So it's a technically easier challenge to build these robots and to ensure that they're operating in a safe way at all times. My line on machine learning and AI is I want to use it as a tool, not a buzzword. And so we do include machine learning and AI in our stack, but we don't just sort of sprinkle some AI on. We actually use it in a very targeted way to solve a problem that you can't really solve any other way. And that's, for us, perception. It's RGB cameras and computer vision. So we sell into the heavy equipment operations industry, which is about $100 billion a year in the US alone. We're the only ones who build autonomous robots. Caterpillar and folks like that have been thinking about autonomy for a long time, and they've made some progress in mining. But we think we have an edge when it comes to software. We have over $100 million in commitments from our customers to use and deploy our robots over the next couple of years. So we think that kind of the sky's the limit in terms of deploying this technology and actually building a pretty massive business here.
The value is in the connection between these new, really powerful tools, but some problem and some problem in some domain. And it's actually, as we say, the binding of those two. Like, what are the things that I really want to go drive my model, and what do I want the model to do? Banjo is a really remarkable company in this whole data model building space.
Banjo's mission is to save lives and reduce human suffering by using artificial intelligence and data ethically. And we do that by streaming in the world of live data and unsiloing that data and synthesizing it together to detect things, anomalies that are happening live anywhere in the world before anybody else would know about it.
So what they're able to do is see something different. They know exactly what was happening in every location on the planet since 2012. And when something different happens, they say, wait a minute, what's that? And that's how they were the first ones to identify the shooter in Las Vegas within 12 seconds.
Banjo takes in right now truly an unimaginable amount of data, live data. And so if you think of a social network as one data source, you think of 911 calls as another data source, you think of weather as another data source, or perhaps even your onboard telemetry from a car as another data source. Those were just 4 I mentioned. And today we take in almost 13,000 different live data sources. Every day I'm pleasantly surprised at all the different things that Banjo can be used for. A state's attorney general came to me and said, I think Banjo can solve child abduction in this country forever. That's a pretty powerful statement. And so what they had is a statewide drill happening with hundreds of law enforcement officials from the federal, state, local law enforcement, as well as private industry coming together with all these tools, equipment, and their current policies and procedures to go and rescue a child once they've become missing, once they've been abducted. And alongside of them, Banjo was running at the same time. 2,300 man-hours later, they ended the drill. 20 seconds after the child was abducted, Banjo had sent the Attorney General and their team all the information they needed to find the child, and the child was recovered 4 minutes later. And so today, Banjo has truly changed the entire protocols and the effort and the technology used now to find missing children. And if you just think of that one use case and how powerful that is, but now apply that to all the other things that happen in daily life.
Well, I think what naturally resonates for us at NEA are people who are trying to do something not only powerful, but for good with artificial intelligence. And the only way that's going to happen is by backing people who believe that's what should be done. And so those are the kinds of entrepreneurs that we look for, the kind that we seem to find us for some reason, and which we now happily have in our portfolio.
What do these new tools unlock in terms of the entire economy and society that we haven't been able to do? And the question we ask ourselves is where IT isn't. And it actually turns out most of the economy. Those are all places that we just need to go connect what all of these things that we've learned about the power of digital and networking to what's happening in the world. And that's AI. That's AI, it's machine learning, it's ultimately robotics. It's the ability to really, in many ways, go after just the fundamentals of the economy and having a benefit from the digital revolution.